Golden lights dance across the open pavilion, reflecting and refracting from the mosaic in the ceiling, with tiny flecks raining halfway down the pillars in an elaborate dance. This is a special space, one located amongst the upper gardens. Those aren't the private ones. No, the private ones wouldn't need such a show like this structure. The upper gardens are accessed by most of the royals' guests, kept with uneven paths and neat flower beds meant to strike awe into a viewer's heart. Our pavilion is no different. A domed roof breaks past the oceans of reds and pinks all around it, all flowers in full bloom, while the underside itself is used as a piece of art. Mosaic tiles cover the dome from the inside, painting pictures of a balance across the continuing surface without an endpoint in sight. The flecks of light are caught by this. The crystals in each of the main 6 charms continue to bounce them on in their cycle. It is a happy scene, something calm where no issues may touch, or at least not today. The breeze plays kindly in the leaves, swaying a rustle through the silence as bees float between vibrant flowers, a pride of the palace's head gardener alongside the team dedicated to this region. Yes. I suppose I did forget to mention that this is a palace. Well, merely missed that detail out whilst caught in the garden's ocean of vibrant colours. The building of the palace rests in the distance, behind fences and mazes tucked out of sight from our place on the ground. More details would be harder to make out from here anyway. Little more than a structure's shadow regardless of the towers ambitiously reaching for the sky. Maybe, and this is a maybe, you'd see an occasional glint off one of the many taller windows along the back. I can entertain curiosity a moment longer though, and show off one of the more luxurious environments. One tower sits away from the rest, a bridge arching over another building below, as the sheltered walkway offers endless breathtaking views of the capital spiralling out below the palace, letting a viewer cast a glance to the mountains on the horizon when a day is clear enough. Another part of the main building reaches forwards, creating a horseshoe at the front of the magnificent estate that encases a detailed fountain bearing the family's crest. It all guides the eye to a winding staircase holding the main doors above any arrivals, holding them on a pedestal above the rest. Now, enough. Describing every detail in the palace would take us a year, maybe longer. People study the finer ones as relics of history, a team being welcomed personally by the Emperor just last month for new inquiries. The main point here is that the pavilion, whilst a remarkable show to most guests, is nothing against what sits minutes away, beyond a closed space and further blocked by changing environments designed for the guests. But it lets a breeze flow through the open walls, a warmth to the invisible river swaying beneath the figures sat at the table in the middle of its finer scene. Lyra, please put the papers away. I know I said they were urgent, but that hardly means you must do them now. A kinder old man begins. His hand waves slightly in a practiced motion, dismissing the pen from her hand, whilst waving over to a woman further down the path. This man sits up straight, which can be said for all in attendance, yet his eyes carry a warm glint, shifting the brown to a brighter orange. Wrinkles mark his face and age. Crow's feet have begun forming around his eyes, smile lines tracing themselves after years of life. Short greying hair falls to behind his ears, kept short for ease, yet still showing off the subtle shimmer occasionally flaking away from his person. No part of him looks old. The spirit of youth clinging to him through the warmth he just emits to all in his company. Acts have only cemented this. I can tell you that a long life of serving his people and sparing them many hardships. He's opened schools, reformed the economy when nobility tried to scam and lie to drain money from the poor, and, most importantly, he's protected them from years of war. It brought an end to them seeing their neighbours and family die at the hands of greed. This is our Emperor, Emperor Silius Ocno Tyrella, ruler of the Tyrellian Empire, most simply refer to him as His Grace or His Imperial Grace if people really want something from him. Those closer simply call him Silius, or some variation of it he should permit. Your father is right, Sunflower. A woman begins with a small teacup in her hand. Work can wait. It earns an eye roll from the figure they're speaking to. Someone we will wait a little before meeting formally. You're used to this from me by now. Instead, the woman, white hair shining in the afternoon's glow and the smaller lights above, simply rests the cup on the plate. It's painted with tiny blue flowers like the decorative plates in a grandmother's collection that are truly never used. This time, they are used. It's a palace, they have plenty of identical sets, and the luxury is hardly new to them. Long earrings peer out from behind the Empress's wavy hair, currently left loose without much business to attend to. Well, if she has her way, there will be no work at the table. They're golden too, catching and reflecting light as they sway to her moves. Age shows itself across her face, yet it too doesn't hinder or pull at her. It sits tastefully, as if another accessory like the golden necklace hung lightly around her neck. None of this distracts from the purple pooling her eyes. Uncommon eyes are kind of a thing here. You're getting used to it by now, aren't you? The magic just loves to play with them. Beyond the eyes, it hardly touches her. When overlooking the pure white of her hair, that isn't age like it is for most. No, she was born with snow-white hair that remained pure no matter what dirt or dye she tried. Empress Iris Quinn Terrelia. She too receives the same respect from the people, nobility and the lower classes alike, just with her in front of them. The figure is still writing as she huffs. Another stranger at her side, yet one that can remain overlooked for the moment being. She doesn't need to entertain any stuffy noble, especially not one she's seen casually all too many times. He's hardly a stranger, confined by social rules. Yet the man only smirks a little, laughing lightly as she concludes the line and hands a stack to the woman waiting at her side. Have them taken to my office. You have the key. The girl waves without watching the first figure leave back down the path, watched by armed guards. Are you happy now, father? Very. It isn't often we get to have tea like this anymore, is it, Lyra? Crowned Princess Lyra Ivy Terrelia, heir to the Terrelian throne. These introductions are getting very bulky with all their titles. This fact is celebrated between the people, this figure being famous for her efforts and devotion. It's all anyone could want. A devotion taken a bit far. Working during afternoon tea would insult any other guest, marked them as less than a sheet of paper in her priority list. Something as small would ruin a family legacy overnight, and she is very aware of this fact. Actually, she takes pride in that fact. Of all the roles life could have bestowed on her, it granted her this chance to prove herself capable. I suppose not, she still reluctantly admits, taking a spare moment to claim one of her cakes resting on the stand, a bright one iced with pink and white swirls mirroring the flowers spanning around them. Her free hand adjusts the round gold-framed glasses tucked below golden waves that frame her face. Calling her hair blonde would defame the way it bounces light back, reflecting it as if each strand is made of the metal. It isn't, to be clear, just normal hair that falls to her lower back and is partially pulled into an elaborate bun. It's accented with a plait hiding any ties too. Everything about her just glows. Jewels and accessories shine brighter on her than they do for any others. The fabric in her dresses grow in vibrancy for her will. Yet the light's claim only touches her hair with the golden tone, possibly bleeding into her eyes, varying on who's asked. The blue matches the sky, yet more vibrant than most blue-eyed people, but still nothing special compared to those claimed by water. She's easily more normal to our standards, at least. Her tea dress is simple, though, nothing more than a white shirt where the sleeves are embroidered with details of the clouds and the sun, whilst the skirt falls to her knee, a dark blue. So, Sal. Her father begins again with her new attention. Have things finally settled down in your domain once more? Oh, yes, of course. The charm holder fixed it right up once more, and I can only be thankful to him for travelling the distance. It had been an honour to house him. That's wonderful, Iris offers with a light smile, easing the tension at her shoulders. How has his health been? The last I saw, the poor man had been having issues as of late. I believed he claimed to be just fine. However, my staff did note a few concerning occurrences. One poor boy went to deliver him some tea and found him coughing up a lung almost. Then we send him our well wishes. It'll be a hard time for his family, it's the least we can do, Lyra rightfully suggests. She's dealt with power changing hands multiple times in her life. Nobles retiring lands to their children to live their elder years peacefully, or accidents befalling many households needing subtle support. A charm holder is a new figure on her list, yet one she could have expected. No holder is exactly young anymore. Though I suppose I haven't introduced the fourth and final in attendance. As I've already said, this is becoming a routine. Well, not beyond Sal, which isn't of much use to you. The man in his prime lounges back in his seat, the swirling patterns of the metal back digging slightly into his ribs. A gloved hand tips the smaller teacup back as the server waits aside to refill it from the steaming pot decorated by the same floral pattern on each dish. Fine, I'll give you a closer look. Light brown hair sways slightly in the breeze, it being pushed back and pulled into a small, low-lying ponytail as he watches the displeasure pass Lyra's face. His eyes examine, burning through the subjects before him with an intensity most turn away from. It isn't his casting either. This man lacks those capabilities, yet the genetics of his ancestry prove fire once that close to their heart. These days, the eyes mean nothing. They twist in various ways, such as those of the Empress or Nyx, or simply just sit a few shades too unusual for our standard. His gloved hand, white naturally, matches the rest of his suit. Only his sleeves remain accented in the pale yellow, meant to imitate gold, with the sleeve cuffs gleaming below the mosaic above. The black waistcoat below, sewn by the finest, is a tasteful contrast matching his trousers and shoes, though, by his standards, it is an unusually dark outfit for the day. This is the Duke, overseeing most of the western land in the Empire, old money from the original campaigns claiming that land under their banner. Miss Lyra, he begins with a voice smoother than most would expect from his sharper appearance. It's almost soft, given the company acknowledging her power in subtle awe. It isn't his normal voice. Most of the upper nobility would take this tone to the royal family, polite and respectful to avoid true offence, yet his normal tone is stronger, more demanding of attention. Your work ethic will never cease to impress, your age in handling many of the vital matters to the Empire with time to spare for more emotional appeals. It's a good sign for the future. Thank you. I still have a fair few things to learn, but each day is a new lesson. Speaking of lessons, Iris's smile gleamed a little with a glance back to the clock, pinned up on one of the walls. I do believe you have a history tutor in a few minutes. A double check confirms that, yes, Lyra is going to be late once again. Her parents could have warned her sooner, spare her running, in heels, through the palace's halls. Last time she did that, one of the guards barely spared her slipping down the main staircase. The other, she ran directly into one of the maids, carrying new sheets up to the guest rooms. It's just her luck. Running never goes well for her. Right, forgive my swift exit, but you're right. A simple wave dismisses her, starting the trail to her new class with the tutor used to her usual antics. Crown Princess is a busy title, as he calmly waves off, with his warm smile only gained by years of study and age. Two guards peel away from their rank beside the path, the others remaining stationary. The palace isn't a risk. Not in many years, yet precaution is still advised, with her attendant delivering papers to her office. She'll work it out. The older woman is hardly a stranger to Lyra vanishing and showing up elsewhere, and she has a copy of the schedule. The aide always knows where she is, and rumours will fill in the blanks if for some reason she can't be found. At the pavilion, afternoon tea continues between the three, polite conversation carrying between them until work comes calling once more. Hey everybody, what's up? Thank you for listening to part 2 of this new series, and I hope you enjoyed. We're still on the slow parts, still on the easy parts. For future episodes, if there are ever content warnings, they will be in the description below, alongside a kind of summary for the recent episodes. That being said, I hope you enjoy, and I hope you do come back for the next part. As always, have a great day.